Welcome on into a little impromptu live stream here on Locked On Auburn. I'm Zach Blackerby. Thanks for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Malcolm Simmons becomes the newest member of Auburn's 2024 class. Congratulations to all of you. This is very, very exciting. Went live for a second from his Instagram at Big Cat Weekend. And I mean, it looks fun. Looks like they've done a really good job of orchestrating and manufacturing a lot of excitement within the program, within the kids. But all in all, another huge recruiting win for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers. Staying put in regards to where they rank on On3's class rankings, they are still at 16. I think they will be higher at that by the end of the day, but still very, very exciting nonetheless. When you look at Malcolm Simmons, 6 foot 170, you can do a lot with that size. I think he's going to be asked to, or at least be looked at outside and inside receiver at the next level, which is very, very exciting. And a Benjamin Russell product that I think is going to be ready earlier in his college career versus other programs, which is very, very exciting. I think Auburn's going to end the weekend with 3 commits. I think this is the first one. I think Perry Thompson will be the second one. And then I think there could be a bunch of dudes that could potentially be the third, and they could get more than that just because there are so many guys that are on Pop Watch and even some 2025 kids, which are certainly exciting. A few of you in the comments are saying they expect 2 more. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I think that'd be a great number. But when you look at Malcolm Simmons, he's a 4-star on most of the boards. His composite ranking or industry ranking, depending on what website you look at, they will be 4 stars. On3 and Rivals have him as a 4-star. He is a 3-star to 247 in ESPN, though I don't think anybody really cares about ESPN's high school rankings, but it is what it is. But yeah, consensus 4-star and a guy that I think is going to be able to make an impact in different positions on the field. And look, bottom line here is I think the combination of Malcolm Simmons, Bryce Kane, who's already a part of this class, and then we all assume Perry Thompson will flip from Alabama to Auburn at some point, whether even if it's not this weekend, we do believe it will eventually happen. That's a great group. That is a great wide receiver group. And I think they all make sense in different ways. I think Bryce Kane is going to be your burner, guy that can really put stress on the back end of a defense. And also, I think he's going to operate primarily out of the slot. And then Perry Thompson and Malcolm Simmons, they're a little more versatile, I think, when you project them to the next level. So very, very exciting stuff. And I can't wait to see what else happens. When you look at 247 Sports, Malcolm was the 365th best player in the class. And he picked Auburn over Arkansas, Georgia Tech, and West Virginia. Technically, I think those are his final 3 schools. But all in all, a kid that's an in-state kid that makes this class better. I'm going to answer a lot of questions. If you want to drop some questions. Jordan asked, are we going to stay live if more commit? Sure. I don't know how long we're going to go, but if more guys commit, we will absolutely stay on. Yeah, people don't care about ESPN's rankings. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Clay asked, is this going to be a big catastrophe weekend for Georgia University of Alabama? We keep stealing their commits. I'm shocked that like a bunch of Georgia's classes here, like the committed part of like, it's amazing to be like Nikar, like he wasn't supposed to be, but that dynamic wide receiver that Auburn pursued early on, but he wasn't interested. And I'm sure we weren't pursuing him hard because a lot of that happened before Hugh Freeze was here. But I mean, there's a lot of guys that are committed to Georgia that were like surprise visitors. I saw Cole Pinkston at Auburn live. They were kind of being a little surprised that all these Georgia commits were coming to Auburn, but I think that was huge. Yeah, a lot of people saying Perry Thompson next. For the folks that are, no, my wife is not upset. We're going out tonight. We're not out right now. No. But I am taking her out tonight. So that's why we're going live now. What bottle are you popping to celebrate tonight? I'm a Crown guy. I'll probably get some Crown if I choose to go that route. Do I think it could be a top 8 class when it's all said and done? Moultrie is asking. I don't know. I think we got a long, long way to go. I think if Auburn adds Bolden a week from now, the number 1 safety in the country, which it certainly seems like he's here. There was going to be some little drama if he wasn't going to be here, but he's here. And I read an article earlier this morning from the On3 national site. I think it was On3, talking about how he's no longer an Ohio State lean. So I think that's pretty telling. He says that while he's at Big Cat Weekend. So if you get a kid like that, yeah, sure. I mean, we're talking about a situation where Auburn could have 3 or 4 5-stars when it's all said and done, especially if Perry Thompson flips later today. That'd be huge. That would be absolutely crazy. So sure, why not? Who's better, Perry Thompson or Cam Coleman? I think Cam Coleman's better. I think every ranking has Cam Coleman better, and I agree with that. But they're both very good, and I think they're different too. I think you can make the argument Perry Thompson looks better in a Hugh Freeze offense. I do think you can make that case. KJ brought some of his teammates to Big Cat. Thoughts, James? I didn't see that. I assume you're talking about KJ Bolden. I didn't see that, but you've got to think that's a good sign, especially when, regardless of who Auburn's head coach is, they're going to be preaching family, and you know how important those bonds are. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that is important. Malcolm Simmons was live on his phone when he committed. Yep, Micah, he was on Instagram, which is cool. That's I think a simpler way to do it than a lot of recruits do these days. So I respect them for doing it that way. What position is Malcolm? Malcolm is a wide receiver. He is a 4-star consensus wide receiver. There's a few places that have him listed as a 3-star, but consensus in the industry ranking or the composite ranking, depending on what website you're on, whatever they call it, that he is a 4-star across the board. So that's exciting stuff. And once again, Auburn's class continues just to get better. So the interesting part of this, though, still currently 8th in the SEC, which is where you need to get better when you look at where Auburn's class is, which is kind of wild. 16th in the country, 8th in the SEC. It's just kind of amazing when you really just stop and think about that. But they've got a chance to be higher than that later. Somebody saying they saw me in a Mexican restaurant. That's probably true. Should have come and said hey. Okay, 4:00 Central Time for Perry is what a lot of you guys are saying. So there you go. Borrego, Wyoming, just a 4-star. I thought we moved to just 5 stars only. I wish. I think we're a few years away from that. No, joking. But I think Auburn's going to have 3 or 4 5-stars in this class, which is incredible. Incredible. Wide receiver room looking mighty good. Yeah, Rodney, I think this is interesting because when you look at what Auburn's going to have to do from a roster management standpoint after this season, I think these receivers are more intriguing than some of these other top-notch kids that we're pursuing, because I think their path to playing time is more immediate. Because you think about, especially these outside wide receivers, like a Malcolm Simmons, like a Perry Thompson, you're losing all of that. Because Hugh Freeze and the staff, they came in, they looked at Auburn's roster, and they're like, well, this whole, and we've joked about this before, like all the receivers are like slot guys. And so what do? They go out and get 3 outside wide receivers that have experience at different levels of college football, right? They went out and got Nick Mardner from Cincinnati / he was at Hawaii before that, right? And then they went out and got Shane Hooks, the Jackson State product, who also played at Ohio. And then the North Texas standout, Jair Shorter. But all those guys have one thing in common, and it's their last year of eligibility. And so when all those guys leave, all of a sudden, I'm sure that's part of the pitch process. And I'm sure they'll go out and attack the transfer portal again. But these receivers are going to have the opportunity to play early, which is a little, I mean, it's exciting. Don't get me wrong, but Hugh Freeze wants to get to the point where true freshmen don't have to necessarily be put in that starting role. But Rodney, you're right. I really like the look of this wide receiver class, despite missing out on Cam Coleman, because I think the emergence of Bryce Cain is exciting. And then Malcolm Simmons, them being all over his commitment. He's only an hour or so away from Alex City. So there's a lot to like. Rodney, you're right. There's a lot to like about these wide receivers for sure. Luke asks, thoughts on Bama fans saying they didn't really want DeMarcus Riddick anyways. Predictable, hilarious. Just wait till Perry later today. I think that could be wild. All right, Jordan is saying Auburn's now 23rd on 247. Okay, I look at on three more than 247, but it's good to kind of get all of those correct. Auburn's 16th on three. They're 23rd on 247. Jordan, can you drop where Auburn is in the SEC on 247? I assume it's probably still 8th, but if you could update me on that, I'm just curious. I don't think it really matters because the class is going to look totally different in 24 hours, but still, I'm curious, Jordan, if you could drop that in, that'd be great. When will Auburn stop their 2024 recruit? I don't know what that means. Like, when are they going to stop recruiting? Signing day, I guess. James asks, Zach, when Cain and Coleman were at the 7-on-7 in Auburn, talks that Cain was the best receiver on the field. Was there to win? I was not there. Talked to folks that were there. Christian Clemente came on the show and talked about that a little bit, as well as I texted with several folks while they were there. And that seemed to be the consensus. Bryce Cain, they're different receivers too, right? I think slot receivers probably benefit from the system of what a 7-on-7 is more than these bigger outside guys, which Bryce Cain at the high school level so far has been an outside guy, but his traits and his skills reflect that more of a slot receiver. So we'll see. We'll certainly see that. And, he connected with Walker White a good bit too, who was at the quarterback commit. So he was certainly there too. Somebody asking, can we flip Cam Coleman? Maybe. I'm sure they're not going to give up on him. Let's see. Keep coming with the questions, guys. This is great. Trevon Reed with 7 emojis. Something big is coming. I love Trevon Reed. I love him so much. He has been incredible. Clay asking, is Walker White our best recruiter and or recruiting tool? Man, there was a few stories and a couple of message boards and a few of the group chats that I'm in this morning. It sounds like everybody had a good time last night. Some of the recruits that came in early, which is exciting. But Walker White and Bryce Cain apparently got to the Auburn facilities really early this morning, and they got a throwing session in, and they walked out to chit chat with reporters for a second. And Walker's like drenched in sweat because he just got a workout in and he was in good spirits. That's the guy you want to be your quarterback. I think we all can agree on that. And the fact that he's already kind of developing a connection with Bryce Cain is awesome. And I'm sure other guys were there too, but those were the guys that were consistently mentioned in the story, which is exciting. Few folks asking about KJ Bolden. He will commit on the 5th. So he's in Auburn right now. Sounds like Ohio State's involved and sounds like Miami's involved, but he told a national outlet earlier this week that he's no longer an Ohio State lean. He's at Big Cat right now. We'll see how that happens. Let's see. Saw an FSU page say that they're expecting KJ Bolden to commit to Auburn. I think Auburn's the favorite. Don't get me wrong. I think Auburn is the favorite now. I'm with you on that. Warwick, Wyoming asking where the offensive linemen are at. I think DeAndre Carter, the product from Mater Dei High School in California, I think he is certainly an option. I think he is certainly an option to possibly commit this weekend. We'll see. I am prepared as if he will commit this weekend. Doesn't mean he will, but I got the content ready to go if he were to commit this weekend. All right, I'm gonna scroll down. Keep the questions coming, guys. Seeing a few people send me tweets about KJ Bolden, which is exciting. I think that energy is there, but he is scheduled to announce on the 5th. So I don't think it's going to happen today, regardless of how much of a good time he has. I don't think he will commit today. Could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love for him to go ahead and get his commitment in. What does Auburn need to do to become the number one recruiting class? I don't think that's possible this year. And I don't think it's Auburn's fault. I think it's Auburn's fault maybe in the past few years. You just got to start on this a few years ahead of time. Like Auburn has 2025 guys on campus this weekend. I don't think we really had 2024 guys on campus last year. Big Cat Weekend was a joke last year. So, I mean, you need to have a few years of this kind of going. You also need to have proof of concept on the field in order to really kind of get it there. And we got to get onto victory, which it seems like they've been killing it lately. But Auburn's NIL, that needs to be shored up a little bit more too. Not that they're doing a bad job, just to get a number one class. I mean, everything's just got to be almost close to perfect. But we're on the right way. Are we still good on Trey Lindsey? TJ Lindsey, do you mean? I think he's here. I haven't really seen much on him, if I'm going to be honest. If anybody knows about, if anybody has a TJ Lindsey defensive lineman update, drop it in the chat. That'd be a fun thing to talk about. As great as Riddick, Simmons, Bolden, Flips commits are, Carter would be huge, Warrior Wyoming says. No question. We had Locked On Recruiting Insider Brian Smith on the show to talk about a lot of the guys that were coming to Big Cat. I sent him the list. And the first thing he said back was, DeAndre Carter's a stud. And if you listen to that show on Thursday, he talked about how he thinks he can start as a freshman. He's really impressed with like what Matter Day is. I mean, it's like IMG, right? It's one of the best high school football programs in the country. It's probably not as dominant as it was a decade ago, but it's still among the top % of high school programs. So that's something definitely to keep an eye on. Yeah. Okay. TJ. Yeah. If anybody has anything on TJ Lindsey, Brett giving a shout out to On to Victory. No question about it, for their marketing and getting these recruits. I don't know what they're doing marketing wise, but they're definitely helping out with get the recruits. There's no question about that. TJ Lindsey's parents are said to be in Auburn. Thank you, Lee, for dropping that. That's great. That's awesome. Kevin asking, do I think Duke Watson will commit this weekend? I do not. I have not been really, his name hasn't been mentioned a whole lot. Duke Watson is a running back. I believe he's from South Georgia. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there, but he is currently committed to Louisville. And just looking at his socials, because we offered him not that long ago, and when we offered him, I was looking at his socials and trying to learn more about the kid. And like, he just doesn't seem that committed to Louisville. So yeah, I don't know if Duke Watson is going to commit this weekend, but I do think Duke Watson will end up in Auburn's class. A few other people just asked about Duke Watson. Yeah, the Louisville running back. That's who that is. That's who that is. When will Perry commit? Folks in the live chat were saying he's supposed to go at either 3 or 4. Somebody answer that question for him if you don't mind, for Patrick. But I think it's a 4 o'clock Central Time. 4 o'clock Central Time. How many commits do you think we will finish for the 2024 roster? That's an interesting question because it just kind of depends on how many guys they want to go out and get to the portal. I think Auburn's going to have less than a lot of the classes that finish in the top 10 because I think we're going to need help an instant help in a lot of position groups. You're going to lose a lot of your offensive line after this year. Depending on what happens with your quarterback situation, like is Peyton Thorne good enough to go to the league? You may have to address that unless you want to start Walker White as a freshman, or are you ready? Do you think Robbie Ashford will be ready? That I think there's a few things that happen with that. We already talked about the receivers that will be leaving after this year just because they're going to run out of eligibility. Same with defensive linemen. You're going to lose some linebackers as well. And then your defensive back room, you're going to have to pretty much flip that whole room. And so, I'm thinking 2022-ish, and then you help out with the rest by getting transfers and grad transfers in. That's just my guess. I haven't been told that. I don't know. That's just my guess. Josh asking, how many offensive line recruits do we have at Big Cat? The main one's DeAndre Carter. That's the main one that we're looking at for sure. Yeah. Yep. Morgan, Wyoming pointing out we're still gonna have to portal our butts off for the next few years. Yep. There's no question. There's no question about it. It just takes time. It just takes time. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. So I want to circle back to talking about the man of the hour, which of course is Malcolm Simmons, 6 foot, 170. I just think there's a lot to like about him as a player. And look, Hugh Freeze, Brian Smith, our Locked On recruiting insider that came on Thursday, he talked about this. Hugh Freeze and his staff was recruiting him while he was at Liberty and then followed him to Auburn. And it's just, if Hugh Freeze, if you're a skill position player and Hugh Freeze likes you, we all should be fine with it. We all should be fine with it. And yes, Malcolm is a 4-star across the board. He's a 3-star in some places. That's going to rub some people the wrong way. But look, if Hugh Freeze does not care about the stars. Hugh Freeze is watching tape on his own, evaluating these players on his own. And I think if you're a receiver and Hugh Freeze is interested in you, I am all about it. I am all about what they need to do it. All right. People are tagging me on the Discord. Join the Locked On Auburn Discord. It's free. All you have to do is click the link in the episode description down below. All right. I'll answer a few more questions and then I'm gonna wrap this up. Let's see here. How tall is Malcolm? Joshua, he's 6 foot. And then some places have him at 165 and some places have him at 170. So it just depends if he weighed before or after he ate, probably. Physical edits with another question. This year, the commit we did on the 2023 roster for quarterback and safety play in the season. And one more question, if Jeremiah Cobb play. I don't understand the 2023 roster for the cornerback, but Jeremiah Cobb, I think, will play this year. I agree. Besides Perry, who else do you think would be... Oh, hold on, I need that. Trey asked, besides Perry, who do you think would be next to walk away committed? DeAndre Carter is on that list. If TJ Lindsey's here, I think there's a chance of that. And then DeAndre Carter, I have a good feeling about. I had a good feeling about Reese Baker. He's not here. Some places said that he was sick. And then I was also told like we may have been backing off our pursuit of him. Wyatt Simmons, the linebacker from Arkansas, is he here? Because I think there's a chance that he could commit as well if he's here. Bob asking, so will Malcolm play in the middle? I think with that size, Bob, you could do either. I mean, he's got another year of high school football to grow and develop and maybe put on weight. But he looks like, just the eye test, he looks more like an outside guy to me than an inside guy. And also with the fact that you're already bringing in Bryce Kane, I think his path to playing time makes more sense as an outside guy, but I could be wrong. That's just my opinion when I watch his tape. That's just kind of what I'm looking at. Malcolm in the middle. Yep, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Warrior, Wyoming. Thank you for that. All right, cool. We'll wrap it up with just comment. What rank do you think Auburn's class will be in 24 hours? They're 16 right now and on 3. Perry will raise them up a few. If you get a Carter or somebody like that, they may even go higher. So drop that number in the live chat. If you have not subscribed to the Locked On Auburn YouTube channel, please do so. We'll be recapping all of this, and I'll go live when I can this weekend. But as we said in the live chat earlier, I'm taking my wife out tonight. We're gonna have a great time, and then I've got church tomorrow. But if something happens tomorrow afternoon, I will go live before we record Monday's show. A lot of people saying 12th, 11th. Wizard of Waz says 1. I'm all for the book, baby. Let's go. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much. Once again, please click that subscribe button. Really, really helps out the show. And we will see you when we see you. This has been Locked On Auburn.